Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is October 7th, 2023, and it's reported that Barcelona are considering now terminating their contract with the German investment fund LIBERO. Also, both Josep Maria Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell are looking to join powers with Laporta. And finally, we're going to discuss whether Barcelona are seriously interested in signing Xavi Simons. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It goes a long way in helping this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking to place any sports bet, not just on Barcelona matches, but on any sporting event around the world, make sure you hit the Bet Us, where they're currently having a special offer for new signups. And if you are looking to buy any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kit bag. Both links are down below in the description. Now, begin with the news that Barcelona continue to search for answers as they have faced a string of injuries as of late, with Pedri, Frankie de Jong, and Robert Lewandowski all currently injured, and with Ronald Araujo not seeming to be 100% fit, as we saw him struggle in the match against FC Porto. Now, it's reported that Xavi Hernandez voiced his complaint during a meeting with the board of directors about having a squad that's not large enough to compete. And it seems that this was a complaint that Xavi Hernandez had brought up during the summer, where he requested that Barcelona sign more players so he can have a bigger squad, because this squad is the smallest one in several years, with Xavi Hernandez only having 23 first-team players. Now, of course, Barcelona were not able to sign Xavi more players because of the financial fair play rule restrictions and the small amount or the small space on the wage bill that they were allowed to work with. So, of course, even though Xavi Hernandez's complaints are understandable, the club's position is also understandable because the club's hands are currently tied. Now, speaking of injuries, it's reported that Xavi Hernandez is now considering using Andreas Christensen in the pivot position right next to Oriol Romeu, given the injury of Frankie de Jong. Now, at the beginning of the season, we saw an extraordinary duo between Frankie de Jong and Oriol Romeu in that double pivot position, with Oriol Romeu with his defensive prowess stopping any attacks that were coming through, and with Frankie de Jong doing a great job pushing with the ball forward. But now with Frankie de Jong injured, there's been a lacking piece in the midfield, and it's reported that Xavi Hernandez is seriously considering Andreas Christensen to play right next to Oriol Romeu, given Andreas Christensen's comfort on the ball, his ability to distribute the ball, and his ability to break line with his passes. And this would not be the first time that Andreas Christensen plays in a pivot position. He has played in that position before for the Danish team and also for both Chelsea and the Bundesliga club Borussia Mönchengladbach. So this would not be a new position for the Danish defender. And it's reported that Deco does like the idea of deploying Andreas Christensen in the midfield. Now, another option that Barcelona are currently considering, or Xavi Hernandez is currently considering, is using Joao Felix as a false nine, given that Robert Lewandowski will miss around 3 weeks out of playtime. And it's reported that Ferran Torres could also be deployed in that position, because again, Barcelona need a center forward or need a striker, because Robert Lewandowski does not have a natural substitute, and therefore Barcelona will have to scramble and find a replacement for the Polish striker as he recovers from his injury. Now, one option that Barcelona had considered to reinforce the attack, which I told you about in yesterday's video, was Barca Athletic's Ángel Alarcón. However, I do have bad news, and it seems that the 19-year-old left winger has suffered another injury, which is an absolute shame because this player has been plagued by a lot of injuries for quite some time. Now, Ángel Alarcón suffered an ACL injury that saw him sit out the entire 2021-2022 season. And after he recovered, he made his debut with the first team. And then he suffered another injury at the end of last season that saw him sidelined for almost 4 months, where he came back last month of September. And now it looks like Alarcón has picked up a new muscle injury in his left leg that would see him sidelined for 3 to 4 weeks, which there goes the option of him being called up to the first team, which was something that Xavi Hernandez was considering. Now, given Angel Alarcon's injuries, reported that Xavi is now looking at another player from Barca Athletic, and this player is Pau Victor, which Xavi could call up to the first team to replace Robert Lewandowski. Now, Pau Victor is a 21-year-old striker who's currently on loan with Barca Athletic from Girona, and he's in fact the top scorer of Barca Athletic, having scored 4 goals and provided 1 assist in only 6 matches. So this is definitely a viable and a serious option that Xavi and Deco are considering to reinforce the first team. Now, Barcelona will continue to look for solutions in order to replace their injured players, and I'm sure Xavi Hernandez will welcome the international break that is set to begin after this weekend, because this will give players like Frankie, Pedri, and Robert Lewandowski more time to recover. But of course, there's also the concern that some players could get injured, especially those who will be called up to their international squads, because after all, Gabi, Balde, Ferran Torres, and Lamine Yamal, who have all become very important players of the squad, have all been called up by Spain. Now, one cool fact that I do want to share with you before moving on to the next segment of news is that it seems that Barcelona are the only team in all of Europe's major leagues to remain undefeated during this season, which is a great accomplishment, because when you take into consideration the fact that teams like Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Real Madrid have all lost matches during this season, it's a pretty cool accomplishment that Barcelona still undefeated during the season, and hopefully this streak will continue. Now on to the news that Barcelona are now ready to terminate the contract with the German investment fund LIBERO for lack of payment. Now, as I reported before, Barcelona sold part of Barca Studios to the German fund LIBERO, who only paid 20 million euros, and they were supposed to pay another 40 million euros before the summer transfer market closed, which Barcelona were heavily relying on in order to register their players. And that payment never came, and Barcelona had to resort to other ways to register the players, including Joan Laporta putting money out of his own pocket to guarantee the registration of these players. And Barcelona have been giving LIBERO plenty of time to make that 40 million euro remaining payment. And until now, the German fund has not come through. So Barcelona are now ready to terminate the contract with the German fund, which will not be a problem for Barcelona, because it's reported that there are plenty of other companies willing to step in and pay that money and purchase part of Barca Studios. And of course, the winter transfer market does not begin for another 3 months, which again gives Barcelona plenty of time to find a new suitor and puts the total advantage in Barcelona's court, because with plenty of time left and with many suitors available, Barcelona will be able to pick and choose and maybe even renegotiate the terms of the sale of Barca Studio. Now, speaking of payments, it's reported that Josep Maria Bartomeu and Sandro Rosell are both ready to join powers with Joan Laporta in order to file a lawsuit against Javier Tebas for defamation of the club, and also for defamation of both Bartomeu and Rosell. Now, as I reported previously, it's been discovered that Javier Tebas, La Liga's president, presented false evidence to the prosecutor's office in the Enriquez Negrera case, which prompted the whole investigation. And in presenting this evidence, Javier Tebas accused both Rosell and Bartomeu of bribing referees and being involved in this refereeing scandal. And therefore, both Bartomeu and Rosell are now ready to file a lawsuit against Javier Tebas for defamation of their character. Now, it's reported that Bartomeu and Rosell would like to sit down with Joan Laporta in order to discuss strategy and join powers with the Barcelona president in filing this lawsuit against Javier Tebas. But for now, it's reported that Joan Laporta has no interest of joining powers with Bartomeu and Rosell, because of course the relations between all three have been broken, especially after the terrible mismanagement of the club by both former presidents. Now, we will end today's video with the news that reports are stating that Barcelona are seriously considering signing the Dutch player Xavi Simons. Now, Xavi Simons is a 20-year-old attacker who came up through the Barcelona academy, and in fact, he is named Xavi after the Barcelona coach Xavi Hernandez. And even though Simons was one of the most promising players to come out of La Masia, he ended up leaving under the Bartomeu, because during those years, the Barcelona president was not given opportunities to the academy players. So Simons left to PSG in search of a better opportunity. Now, unfortunately for Xavi Simons, it did not go as well for him at PSG. So he ended up leaving on a free transfer to PSV Eindhoven. And in the Dutch league, Xavi Simons lived up to his expectation and had an amazing performance, which prompted PSG to activate a clause in the contract which allowed him to buy back the player. Now, Xavi Simons is currently playing in the Bundesliga, where he's also doing really well. And the better he does, it's reported, the more attention he is attracting. And there are several teams in Europe that would like to sign the youngsters. And reports are saying that Barcelona are amongst these teams. Now, I'm here to tell you that yes, Barcelona have been tracking Xavi Simons for quite some time to try to see his progression. And it's reported that Laporta is a big fan of the player, and he has considered several times on signing Xavi Simons ever since he became the Barcelona president. But unfortunately, it is very highly unlikely that Barcelona will be able to sign Xavi Simons, because French media outlets are saying that PSG have no intention of offloading the player and that they plan to include him in their new project, especially after Kylian Mbappe will most likely leave during next summer. Now, PSG's position that they don't want to offload Xavi Simons could also be a tactic in order to drive the player's price up. But regardless, there are plenty of teams interested in Xavi Simons, including Manchester City. So even if PSG do decide to offload him, it's going to be very difficult for Barcelona to make the signing, because they are facing competition from many other European clubs, and some of them with very, very deep pockets like Manchester City. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Biscarsa.